everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast pre-show. I am not Dave. The empty seat across from me is not Boater. I am Boater, and Dave is on the way. But we didn't want to keep you guys waiting too long. Things are kind of funky here at the Insane Games TV studio. The mall closed at 7, so I'm in here totally after mall hours, which is fine with me, considering how things go. And yeah, I just wanted to chat a little bit, say hi to everyone, and see how everyone's doing tonight. Dave sent me a text that said, Queensbury traffic is killing me. Who is out in Queensbury? If you are not on the way to your nerdy podcast, get off the road. Or if you're not an emergency vehicle, I guess. Anyway, he should be here shortly, within the next 10 minutes or so. But hello, Demon Dragon, indeed. Tisk, Dave. Obviously, we need to start having a Dave's Fault macro here over at the Insane Games TV channel, much as there is a much beloved Steve's Fault over at DAM314 and Ampslayer just with the giggles. And look who it is. Welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast pre-show, Dave.
Hello.
That didn't go too long at all, so I figured you'd be here shortly, but I didn't want to keep our good folks waiting. I said it with countdown, and when I hit 0, I said hello. And I will now relinquish your... Well, look who decided to show up, says Ampslayer. Indeed. I was just saying that we needed exclamation point Dave's Fault macro on the Insane Games TV
Oh my
channel.
god, that would be amazing. welcome, fair viewers. My apologies. I did not assume that my lateness would be all that missed, considering that there's many other cool cats on the Insane Games TV network.
Hey, 2v Tuesdays suffered some defeats today. It wasn't good for them. They decided to head out, but we're still glad that they shared those defeats with us here on the network.
Yeah, some people are.
So, Dan, you just missed Dan, and we got the place to ourselves. Woo! Party time.
Wait,
no
so
guests.
we have the place to ourselves?
Social isolation party.
Let's see. What's something like... Ooh, this is something that pisses off Dan a lot. He hates when I do this.
What, Mario Party, the Xbox controller?
I mean, pretty much. No, he's going to claim those ones are broken.
So, yes. Hey, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Not pre-show.
Touch, says CJ Playmaker.
Are you guys 6 feet apart?
Grab the tape measure out of the drawer next to you.
You know what I was going to do? I was going to be like, well, that's if we're both roughly arm length from each other, but no, that would involve touching.
So you're going to reach your arm straight across.
Hold on. Are we within a dangerous range? Smack!
I mean, dangerous for me, but being within arm's reach or county reach of Boater is a little bit dangerous, but pre-warned danger.
And here's the thing, is that, I think we're fine in here because, let's be honest, Wilton Mall during the best of times is still social isolation distance.
But the one thing, and as smug as I'm being when I walk in, Dan, Mike...
As someone who is 6'2", they are not 6 feet apart.
And myself have been working incredibly hard to keep this space as spick and span and as coronavirus free as any of your big box retailers are, and we only have a staff of
3.
So eat it, Walmart. We didn't run out of toilet paper. Typically, we clean the counters with Windex. It's ammonia.
First, I thought you were holding up a toilet paper replacement, and if we do, we got this. Let me just...
I mean,
it burns the taint a little, but
Windex, it's got ammonia, it cleans a lot of things very basically, and it does a very good job.
Yep.
But for your safety, probably now a couple weeks ago, Dan and Mike that went out and got Lysol, which kills 0.9% of bacteria, and one of those things is, in fact... Yes?
Coronavirus is not a bacteria.
No, it's not. But it kills all the stanky shit customers drag in here, and some of the other louses that hang around this store.
Alton Brown had a really good video about how soap itself does a really good job of killing virus.
Yes.
You know, like, amazing video. Alton Brown is a mad genius.
But, folks, make sure that you go out. It doesn't have to have
0.1%.
name brands and crap on it. Just look on for example, this one says that it kills the Salmonella, Echerichia, the coli, all the other fancy syllables, which basically means that coronavirus, Insane Games ain't afraid of you, nor will it ever be.
Just clean stuff. Honestly, if you get some Target brand soap, lather it up on some paper towels and wipe down surfaces, and wash your hands for 20 seconds, which brings us actually already to a community question that honestly I only posted about 3 hours ago.
Yes.
But what are some of your favorite things that you've heard as far as being able to sing or say to yourself to ensure that you are washing your hands for 20 seconds?
Now, pardon me as I do this one, but I work in elementary education. We've been counting for 30 seconds to push our hands before it was cool.
That's fine.
Like, trust me, there are 1.5 billion songs, but the one that I've started doing was one of my favorites, and it's Space, the Final Frontier.
I knew you were going to do
These
this one.
are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise, whose 5-year mission, pregnant pause, is to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. And if you want to do the Shatner version of it, you can.
So my favorite one that's not a song is thematically appropriate. Out, damn spot. Out, I say. 1, 2. Why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie. A soldier and a feared? What need we fear who knows it when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
The average
So
person
appropriate.
avoids Shakespeare like nobody's business.
Okay,
so I
you
don't
were going
think
to
that's
say
gonna catch
you
on.
were going to say like the plague.
No, because it's tough times for folks, and making light of other people's illnesses and calamities.
So
is...
I definitely had to look that up. I don't know that little monologue off the top of my head. I definitely had to look that up. I just love it for its thematic appropriateness.
Oh my god, I found some of the coolest articles, but I made it a point while looking for the topics for this week and things like that to not allow the... I'll phrase it to you this way. Folks, shit's tough right now. Everybody's aware of that.
Yep.
And so it has always been my goal and my duty in life to try to amuse people. That's been pretty much the gist of what I do.
I can attest to this. I'm usually amused when Dave's around.
Regardless
Even
of
if
whether
it's
it's
despite
intentional or
myself.
not. Exactly.
I just wanted to
But-
bring up the start screen. I don't know what all this is.
Yeah. But I wanted to express to you all that remember the famous line from someone that I spent many a day in my youth looking up to. Mr. Rogers would say that when he was young and he would look on the news and he would say that there were many things that scared him, his mother would look at him and she would say, look to the people that are helping.
Yep.
Look for the helpers. Because there are many, many more of them than there are of the problem makers. And just like the problematic speech I made a couple months ago about Twitch and things like that, and for those of you who watched on the Weekend Wednesday, thank you, because I know a lot of you took it to heart and things of that nature. Remember, folks, that as things are quarantining, as people are putting social distance and things like that, just because I can't hug Boater physically, or, you know, one of you out there, doesn't mean that there's not a caring. Doesn't mean that there's not something that can be done.
A coworker and I figured out, well, at first we were just doing elbows, haha, and then we were like, oh, we can figure out a cool, like, secret handshake using our feet. So, like, you know, like one of, like, these type things.
Like the salt and pepper.
Yeah. Sure. But yeah, just doing things like that and just, like, trying to keep each other's spirits up, definitely. It has been a super long week. And Dave, to prove how long a week it's been, think in your head to how long ago you feel like it was when you heard that E3 was canceled. It feels like weeks ago, right?
Not really. To be totally honest,
Okay.
not to shoot down your point
that's
that you're
fine.
making. I apologize, but
it was announced after we finished shooting the podcast. It was either late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. To me, it feels like ages ago. I went out to dinner with Steph on Friday before the guidelines in New York State said that restaurants had to close their dine-in, whatever.
Yeah.
We went on Friday, and that feels like forever ago.
I mean,
it has been 90-ish days, and already this is the longest decade of my life. The 2020s are taking forever. Everything is happening so rapidly. And yes, E3 is canceled, and E3's had some rocky years in the past for various reasons. Not all of which I know, I'll admit, to not keeping up on all of that, but Dave, do you think that having to straight up close this year is going to be the nail in E3's coffin? Because E3 used to be super relevant, and it's not anymore.
I think this is actually going to be the watershed moment for E3. It tried to be the conference that it has been for decades, and it just wasn't working. I think the folks of E3 are going to shut it down this year, not set up all those set pieces, all that stuff, put all those big rooms together for big companies that are next year just going to do their own convention.
Yeah, so many have. Sony hasn't formally attended E3 for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And even 10 years ago, all the huge announcements were coming out in the days leading up to E3 proper.
I think E3 is going to retool it and potentially become, spitballing here because I don't own a multi-billion-dollar company and I don't even own a small business, but
I own some action figures. I held a St. Patrick's Day parade with them today.
I mean,
Twitter.com/Boaterbug. I literally live tweeted a parade in my basement hallway.
That's amazing. I look forward to seeing that. See, happy things in your daily day.
I'm sorry, we're skipping all over the place. I haven't even given the community answers from the community question 10 minutes ago.
Totally.
Sorry. So you were saying you don't even own a small business.
I think from the ground floor of looking at a lot of these things, that E3 is going to come back as a successful model of Steam Greenlight, where they're going to give a platform to all of these small companies that are going to make games that are going to be the next big thing, or that are going to be the next thing you play for a month straight, really enjoy, and then reference in the future.
Yeah, so instead of being for the big names that already have the ability to really get out there, it shows that conventions like this are important for the small guy. And if E3 100% focuses on that, I think they can do pretty well. They can't really move at the scale that they wanted to before because, frankly, PAX is taking over a lot of that niche.
Yep.
PAX does
they sat there
a lot
and
of
swallowed
board games and stuff.
all of that extra
Yeah, so big company announcements don't happen at PAX, but smaller games get the chance to go there and to exhibit, and not just video games, but a lot of different nerddom as concerns us here. And so for E3 to try to take a piece of that pie back, I think would be foolhardy. But I like your idea of just basically courting small developers and trying to... I mean, for it to be big, they'd have to charge a fair amount for that space. And that locks out small developers. They would have to do something that is like a lottery system, kind of like how Artist Alley is done for big conventions. Mm-hmm. So if they become like a indie game developer's Artist Alley... I think that could be a really cool thing for E3 to do.
And imagine how easy promotion they could get if, vote your favorite small developers to E3. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, the developers are doing the legwork and they're advertising for it, and you're getting all these people interested in seeing the next this or the next that.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we could see PAX have a return.
You mean E3?
Well, yeah. But PAX needs a little bit of revitalizing, too.
CJ Playmaker says we should just do Insane GamesCon.
I mean, I'm gonna be entirely honest here.
IGCon.
If there is anybody that could run a successful convention, it would be the man that signs my checks. The man that allows me on a weekly basis, 5 days a week, in fact, to come to this store and interact with you in a public way.
6 feet.
It could be truly, truly a man, a visionary, but not just any visionary. The chief of Insane Games TV. I believe that Dan could do it, but damn it all, he would have to pay Tom a lot of money to do a lot of work behind him. Sorry,
so it's not happening.
It's definitely happening. It's just he'll have to get a big enough check to pay Tom to do some of the logistics behind him while he does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
While I run around in front of him and go, and get people hyped about it.
Exactly. Before I forget, I want to backtrack, and I just said like the 20-second thing. Jen actually responded to the community question, which was that, and she said the chorus to "It's the End of the World as We Know It." So if you include the musical bits, it spaces out to about 20 seconds. There is a sign hanging in in one of like the staff kitchen at work with a few different options, and when I can't think of something, like High Hopes by Panic at the Disco was in my head, and I was doing that for a while. But when I can't think of something, I just default to Mr. Brightside by The Killers, also 20 seconds. So I'll have Dan sign a copy of the Dead to Dan list. Oh my God!
You can add Dave to that. No,
I'm gonna. Hi everybody.
Well, here, don't turn the camera. Just have Steve come sit here.
No, we got this. There we go. Everything's fine.
Hi.
So we are joined by none other than Dr. Wiley himself.
Then Steve's fault Wiley. Hello, Steve.
Hi. I got one of them there zero sugar Coca-Cola energies.
Wow.
Way better than the regular stuff.
CJ Playmaker already dropping in the exclamation point, Steve.
This chat room doesn't know what it means, but we all know what it means.
So, Steve, you work in food services.
I do.
Actually. What, as an answer to the community question that we had on the DAM 314, the Weekend Wednesday Discord, what do you do to remind yourself that it's 20 seconds you need to wash your hands? What's the mnemonic device you use?
I use the good old Mark Zuckerberg from Game Grumps.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Please regale us.
I don't know it out loud, but I know it in my head. I can find it.
Can barely hear Steve. That's why
right.
Steve's
Okay.
got to pull himself
right
over here.
Okay.
That's right. There's a microphone central on the table. I'm gonna swing the camera back over now.
Steve doth not have a voice that moves mountains, but he doth have words that will do so. Thank you, Demon Dragon, for letting us know. I'm very ashamed of a lot of you. This past Sunday, I kept referencing Captain Morgan, and none of you could hear her, but you responded to her somehow. And I'm not quite sure how.
Witchcraft! Remind me to tell you about the book I'm reading, speaking of.
Come on. Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Amp.
Motherfucking Jesse Eisenberg, Jesus Christ, fuck dude, motherfucking Facebook movie bullshit, Jesus, can you fucking believe this shit? Goddamn creative Facebook and fucking lawyers and shit, right? Fucking Winklevoss twins, goddamn rowing the boat, fuck yo shit, I can't even fucking believe this shit. Have you seen this shit? Fuck, I just wanted this shit. Fuck Jesse Eisenberg, man. Motherfucking Spider-Man, you put in the time, put in the motherfucking built shit with his bare hands, fucking best friend shit, Jesse Eisenberg, I'm very tired. No man, I was talking about the Facebook movie all day. Shit, man, you have to be so interested in the shit I have to say about the Facebook movie. Fuck, dude, I just watched it a year and a half ago. Fuck Jesse Eisenberg, man. He fucked over Spider-Man. Crazy Winklevoss twins, Rowan, Trent Reznor, or did the soundtrack. Fuck this guy. Who invented Facebook? Him. I don't like dying. I can't think of who the fuck invented Facebook. All I can think is who played the guy who invented Facebook. Who the fuck invented Facebook?
So I am very excited that tirade of obscenities and the word Jesse Eisenberg was unfortunately not broadcasted
Still-
because it means that this episode will stay safe to share on social medias.
Oh, I mean, someone can turn it up and hear it. I didn't realize there was going to be so much of that, but you do need to speak up. That is right there.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow. That was
So that's what
right
you
because
use
now
every
I
time
remember
you have
that.
to wash your hands at work.
It's a lot of jumble like
Yeah, so it's like humming along when you don't know the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know the cadence of that rant. And that was definitely more than 20 seconds. How do you still have skin on your hands?
don't know.
Bravo. Steve needs to use that diaphragm more, says CJ Playmaker. No! Don't do... excuse me, sir. I am the one who screams into the microphone on this program.
And the one who bangs on the table. Which makes it really handy for me to synchronize when I download clips and the AV isn't synced up.
Yeah!
So, thanks. Definitely could hear the F words in that. There wasn't much else, honestly.
I will send the copy of the transcripts to the Discord. and-
Sounds like a good place for it.
So,
I was gonna say something else and I totally forgot.
did you forget? Well, you know what, Boater? Some people forgot that the NBA season is not live at all.
Okay.
That is not the article I was looking for. Hang on, because that is not the article I needed at all. People in Taiwan are forgetting that the NBA season is suspended because on primetime television, on their, grade A networks, they're playing the anime Slam Dunk and exposing their folks to the
That's amazing.
the anime, and apparently reviews are staying consistent. Like, people who tune in for NBA
good.
are
Oh,
staying
good.
on
Around for the
for
anime.
the anime based upon the NBA.
That's yeah. There you go.
It's amazing. I also had an article that also rolls into a story of how work is going, but there is a professor in NYU, a game center professor who, when a student suggested streaming classes was a quote-unquote terrible idea, he called him out on it, and he tried it. And apparently, it went incredibly well on Twitch. It topped out at 90 concurrent viewers.
Nice.
Many of which who were not his students in the class. But
People want to learn, especially if a teacher is engaging and does stuff well. People want to learn.
Yep. So he basically did a lecture explaining why the amount of people that will spend time broadcasting to absolutely nobody. Now, that's not true. Because we are very fortunate here on Insane Games TV that no matter what program you tune into, whether or not the programs correlate or whether or not the folks on the programs actually know each other, you will always see someone in the chat interacting and things like that. You will never go on a Boaterbug stream or a Boaterbug YouTube video and see that there is not one view. Unless it's me and Boater playing Recore, in which case they watched the first episode and they got the gist.
No, there were some sadists that went. Not a lot, but there's a few views on there.
And I am
No,
very
here's the
blessed.
thing is that there are views on my YouTube videos, but that's because I go there so I can share them.
I watch your videos.
Oh, I appreciate
And
that.
I watch your videos. I rah-rah the shit out of those things.
Did you watch the one I uploaded last night where I was having a panic attack and just need to talk to a camera for a bit?
I saw that this morning and I thought, that's
Maybe-
not the video I need to start my day with.
That's
That's
fine.
when I texted you,
That's
though.
fine.
And the
Okay.
picture of the Chansey.
It's community. It's whether it's here's a really cool thing, and I've said it before. is that
Exactly,
whether-
more like
whether-
Rigor Mortis and Demon Dragon.
Like whether it's us here all knowing each other and hanging out with each other, or whether it's those of you in chat that are familiar with us on here, or watch us at DM314, watch me at YouTube, watch Steve, anything like that. Or, frankly, we're possibly going to be seeing some new members of the community, because a lot of people that might have had things to do on Tuesday nights are now like, well, dang, I can only rewatch The Witcher so many times. What's on Twitch? And
silence, you cur.
I can only rewatch The Witcher so many times today.
Fair. I run out of hours.
And, let's see what's on Twitch. So I think it's possible we're going to get new community members. And this is such a really cool community that we have here, that it's a welcoming place for people to kind of come into.
So, speaking of welcoming communities and stuff like that, there are a couple more topics that I was really exceptionally overhyped about and very excited to get to share with actually the both of you and you folks watching at home, because
and I will say, leave 10 minutes at the end, because I just got a really good question from someone who is watching right now. May not necessarily want to ask in chat, but I have a really good question that I think would be a fun thing to discuss for the last 10 minutes. So we'll leave a 10-minute gap at the end, but by all means, continue on.
So, I don't remember what this article is, so we're going to pretend my iPhone works for just 1 second, and I'm going to remember what this one is, and then we're going to talk about some rumor and innuendo.
Ooh.
Because God knows the world runs off of people talking shit about other people. And so we're going to talk some shit about other game companies. It's going to be the best.
Like GameStop, that did, after a whole lot of prodding, cancel their midnight events for Doom and Animal Crossing on Friday, but are still open, and at the store level don't have a whole lot of guidance. Like, individual managers can make the call to shut down demo stations or whatever, but company-wide, they're open across the nation. And we're seeing this in a lot of different industries. I'll say that kind of thing is going on at Starbucks as well, where, like, where they put out a statement saying, yes, we're sanitizing, whatever, but there's not the supplies to go around for it. Yes. It's like, there's one bottle of Lysol at the store, and at the end of the day, there's no bottles of Lysol at the store, and it's up to the managers to go out to Tesco to, I don't know why I came up with Tesco. I don't even think that's a U.S. Anyway, to go out to wherever and to find...
No, you will go to Tesco.
and to find more, hand sanitizer and paper towels and everything like that, because corporate's not supporting like they're supposed to. And GameStop is just another one of those companies that's running into that. There's a question of how can they stay open and change their business model, and that might be like drive-through GameStop, which is like, we have the gate out here. I see that there's the seating area over here that all of the boxes have been put in front of, so that
we're in the midst of making a fort so that we can ride out the storm with 2 televisions,
with a shelter,
and the All Might statue.
But not for the public, because
no, we have plenty of toilet paper. And you're not allowed to use any of it.
Oh my gosh! When I walked in and there were no chairs or tables in the food court, I mean, like, I knew that because of dine-in regulations in the state that they would have to do something.
Yeah,
that blew my mind. But again, seeing this over here, but I was gonna go somewhere with that. Oh no, I lost where I was going because I sidetracked too fast. Fudge. Dave, continue.
So,
I hurt myself.
Speaking of fudge, hold on to your dookie, because it's about to get spooky. CD Projekt Red will have 2 larger teams working on Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer and DLC, respectively, while a smaller team will begin work on a new single-player Witcher game.
Okay.
So excited for that, and especially because they threw out the words single player. Because I love me some Elder Scrolls, but you know what I don't love? MMO and my Elder Scrolls combined together to make a game I'm just not gonna play.
Well, it's like, it's interesting that, like, Witcher on Netflix blew up, I think, more than most people thought it would. And so naturally, that renews interest in the people that own the rights for video games of it, which have been good as well. to try to do something. And since it's CD Projekt Red and they have no problem with crunch or anything like that, I think we can see that game at the end of the year. I'm kidding, of course. But like, Demon Dragon, I still have to play a Witcher game. More Like Rigor Mortis says same. Nightwing says, what is single player? It's what I do on the Citadel and makes me an outlier on this on this network.
Let me give you a good visual example of single player. Hey Steve, would you like to play this game?
Yeah, sure.
Buy your own copy, you mooch.
Oh.
That's pretty much what single player is viewed as right now, but
By developers.
by developers
Yes.
and by the people that are like, but what about the whales? Damn you, Bismarck Hines, just stand up.
Also, More Like Rigor Mortis wants to give you an Emmy for your segues because it takes a while to get there, but man, do you? Yeah, good job.
There's a reason why I used to do a lot of stand-up comedy, and a lot of people would pay me money to do it. And now I work here for...
And now he's volunteering here on the channel. Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
wait a minute! The episode cuts out. Da-da-da-da. No,
Click.
so...
Gonna...
We're gonna speaking of rumor, innuendo, and transitions.
Oh! I know where I was going with the boxes.
And here we are.
Okay, so like seeing if GameStop could transition to a business model where
Yeah.
they say put a bunch of boxes or a barrier up so that people stay at the front of the store. They say, "Hi, hello, yes, I would like a copy of Elder Scrolls Skyrim for Xbox One." I assume it's been released for Xbox One by now.
Yes.
And they say, "Sure." And they go and get the game and they take your credit card and hand you the game. That way you don't have the customers in touching all the things. There was a homeless guy in the store I work at last night who was just hacking, coughing into his hand and then touching all the things.
Oh.
I mean, it was a wet cough. It wasn't a coronavirus cough, but it was still like gross and could get someone just regular sick. But like, so there's in some cities that's kind of the norm for how you do business is while there's not a whole lot of space, so what they do is they just have the warehouse. You rock up to the front and you say, "Hello, yes, I would like this, this, and this," or you place your order online via this now an app. But like there was a company in Britain where like literally it was a Christmas catalog. You come in, you circle the things on the catalog, give them the form, and then they go to the basement, which is like Indiana Jones warehouse.
Yeah.
And then come up, and all the storefront is just a tiny little bip. And so, like, we are probably going to see some stores go to that business model. I think ideally would be a good thing where they can still keep making revenue without the foot traffic being able to go through and browse. And that's something that I think GameStop should do instead of, again, this remain open and endanger public and staff and all that.
And weren't we just talking about the fact that not 2 weeks ago they got a new executive board?
Yeah, and they had plans to make it a social gathering area.
You know what though?
Womp womp.
I'm glad that Reggie's on top of it because Reggie will keep it at least.
No, that
safe
was a
for the
week
people.
ago. That was definitely 1 week ago.
Yeah.
I tell you, you said 2 weeks ago. Time is
Although,
weird.
At the time of reporting, I don't know that was exactly when they were sworn in. It may have been a week or two ago.
More like rigor mortis. No, the credit card has to be in isolation for 14 days. Demon Dragon says, well, if that's the case, gotta get more cards.
Would I wish I could get more credit cards?
I just gotta isolate my 2 and be like, all right, you're for this week, you're for next week, then you're out of isolation, you can be used to. But I have to pay both of you at the same time. That's not fair.
Hi! What happened to my minimum premiums? So, rumor and innuendo. Everyone, let's all put our hands near our face, but don't touch it. We're gonna discuss some risky subjects. No one's gonna ride along with me with this. Okay, thanks, Boater. You all at home? All right, Steve. So we're talking some rumor and innuendo. All right, here on the program. It's not a proven article. Everything we have said thus far on the program, including my comment about the Boy Scouts protecting pedophiles, has been entirely true, whether you like it or not. So, did you guys know? Did you guys hear what I heard? Third period from somebody else. I heard that Sony
Do you hear what I hear?
is going to Konami. And they're saying, hey, that's an awful nice Castlevania IP you have there. Oh, and an awful nice Silent Hills IP you have there. Oh, and an awful nice Metal Gear Solid IP you have there.
Awful
Boy,
nice PT.
boy, would we like to... They don't own PT.
Oh, yeah,
Sony owns PT, and that's why they're going to those IPs. You know what else they own, Boater? Are you ready for this?
Sony doesn't own PT.
No. But yeah. Sony owns...
Kojima Productions.
But Sony owns Kojima Productions, so they own what could now be PT.
Right, well, I'm saying, like, the game itself, they can't publish it right now because that is still Konami, which is because it's attached to Silent Hills.
But do you know what else Konami owns that Sony's kind of eyeing and interested in?
What?
Suikoden.
Ooh.
They have been eyeing all those major first titles from Konami that have made them the company that they are now, where they can now...
Is Shadow Hearts Konami? Check for me.
I think so. But... Sony is starting to get to talks with them and saying, we would like to make those games again, please.
Hey, you company that's not interested in making video games, just in making pachinko machines and stuff like that for the only Japanese market, do you just want to sell us your video game division? Because we got cash.
Now, I bet that if Konami is smart at all, they're going to license them, but not sell them to Sony. And then Sony
Depends on how much of a headache they want to go through for that kind of thing. If Sony offers big enough buxos, they may just do it.
Demon Dragon calling out a shout out for the Castlevania Netflix show, which, by the way, speaking of, if you like Castlevania, you have got to check out Retro Mondays with Mike. He is breezing through Castlevania, and it is awesome. Because I don't really know how to play Castlevania, but Mike is handedly beating the game and answering all of my stupid questions in one go. Please, next week, do me a favor and tune in and watch him soundedly kick Alucard's ass. Well, kick Dracula's ass with Alucard, but you know what I mean.
I'm sorry, I'm just catching up on chat of, like, found the train. Skyrim being on the fridge.
So, if those rumors turn out to be true, I am going to be a very happy man. Because I want... Honestly, I would like a new Suikoden game that I could actually plug into a more recent console. Yep. I would really like another Metal Gear Solid, especially because Sony has... oh, that's right, Kojima. I wouldn't want Kojima to head up another game, because it's clear that he is burnt out on that shit, but I would love for him to do the same thing that Lucas did for the first 3 Star Wars films, canonically. And walk around and go... That doesn't look right. Oh, change that sound. That doesn't look good. Things like that. Because you know what? If you're going to do his stuff, you should have him on it.
As a producer, for the record, Lucas was still the director on A New Hope as well. It was just Empire Strikes Back and Jedi that he had other people on. Yeah. And so, like, that... It depends on how much Kojima would want to. I think he would be thrilled to have his IPs out of Konami's hands, just to spite them.
I'm sure if they do what actors do nowadays. Did you notice that Vin Diesel got another action movie where he's the star of the action movie and it's not going to sell? Did you notice that they got another Fast and Furious movie out of him? Is there a correlation? The answer is yes. That's why you kept getting all those Clint Eastwood films, and Clint Eastwood's now directing well into his thousands-of-year-olds. Because if you say to Kojima, we want you to work on Metal Gear Solid, and just as he's about to say no, they go, but you're going to get to do 3 other games of your choice. And he's going to go fully funded, and they're going to go fully funded.
Yeah,
he's going to go
true.
In.
That's true, using it as kind of like the carrot for being able to do your own passion projects.
So... Passion projects aside, we are heading towards some times where you, the fine folks at home, are going to have to stay home or at least limit your time outside. Or if you are like our friends in chat, Antiklaus Prime and Lieutenant Bulldog, who are in Spain and Germany respectively, you are not allowed to leave your house. Just not allowed unless you're going for work or if you are leaving one at a time for something. So, Steve, would you like to present this article that I found?
Why, yes, I would. All right, ladies and gentlemen, got some games here that you can play without leaving your house. Red Dead 2, long game. I've never played it. I don't like Red Dead. But what do you guys think?
Red Dead 2 was a lot of fun. I was very excited for its release, and I'm looking forward to it. But let's just say, Steve, Red Dead 2 is not my thing. I'm not a fan of Westerns. I don't want to jump in at a story. What else have you got for me, Steve?
Well, on PS4, Xbox One, PC, Switch, and the iOS marketplace, you have Civilization 6. Build your own world, mess it all up. It's great.
But
So it's like Sims on a global scale.
But Steve, Civilization makes me feel so scared of the world around me. What's something else I could play to escape into a different world?
Hold on, the Civilization makes you scared of the world? Funny, the world makes me scared of civilization.
Steve, do you have something else for us to ease my tensions?
One of the most anticipated games of 2017 and 2016 and 2015. I believe also 2014.
Yep.
Goddamn, were they delayed. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for both the Nintendo Switch and the often overlooked port for the Nintendo Wii U.
But Steve, I don't own a Switch, and my Wii U keeps the garage door from closing, and I don't want to do the work to get it unstuck. What else have you got for me, Steve?
We got a classic game that everyone hated at launch, but everyone's gotten around to it. Most everyone's gotten around to it. No Man's Sky for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
To be fair, that's a game that was very different at launch than it is now. That's an example
Yeah.
of like really good. So I mean, I guess you're just listing off some long play games, which is totally fine. But yeah, like No Man's Sky, let's take a second and just say like that was a very different game at launch. They've done a really good job of supporting that post-release.
But Steve, No Man's Sky made me feel hurt in the butt area because I bought that game and then it was not what I wanted.
How long is this list?
What else do you have for me, Steve?
Halfway down. For the PS4, Switch, and the PC, a classic RPG, Dragon Quest. I forgot what number it was.
Damn it, Steve! I'm throwing you these
11.
to see.
Demon Dragon mentions that Death Stranding is a game that you could play that takes a nice long
Death
time.
what? No. That game doesn't exist.
And that's good to mention right now. I'm sure we'll get the chance to talk about that more when we're done with this list.
Oh, yes. Steve, I don't like Dragon Quest, and I'm not getting into the 11th installment. What else have you got for me? What other fun games can I play at home?
You can play. Play the ever so Greek Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Which is free this weekend. It is free to play this weekend.
Is it on Xbox?
I believe I believe on Xbox. It might be just through Uplay on PC. I'm not positive. I saw the headline that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is free to play this weekend. It was shared by Elias Tefexis, who was one of the voice actors in there, and it's just an amazing voice actor, period. So, by all means, if you're stuck at home, look up Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's going to take you longer than a weekend to play, even if you are stuck at home playing it the entire time.
But, Boater, I don't like to play Assassin's Creed because jumping off of things, tall things, and too hay makes me nervous. What else could I play?
Well, you could play Total War Shogun 2, the latest in the Total War series that is both a real-time strategy game as well as a turn-based strategy game.
Real-time time-based strategy game.
Yeah, sure.
And I know what you're thinking to yourselves. There are a ton of other games that you could play with yourself or
Playmakers-
with others.
CJ Playmaker says you can play a sports game to fill that void left by NBA and NHL. Like, honestly, when I was working here 7 years ago, I would have the latest Madden up on the TV, and people would be like, is that a real... Like, are you an ESPN broadcast? No, that's a video game, and it would take them a minute. So just take a sports game and play it, or better yet, put it in demo mode and just watch it and see what happens.
Nightwing giving a ringing endorsement to Dragon Quest XI. Demon Dragon saying Assassin's Creed Origins is fun.
Odyssey.
Assassin's Creed Origins is fun too, but Odyssey. Boater, you wanted to reserve 10 minutes for a topic, and I wanted to make sure, just to remember, folks, your game library may be gathering a little bit of dust, but I bet that there are some gems in there that you could revisit and enjoy.
Okay, here's a segue for you. So these were interesting games to bring you up, but what if you don't have a console at all? and you realize that you are going to be stuck at home for quite some period of time, and you have an extra couple $100 lying around. You can go and get a few hardcover books. You can get a couple bags of paperback books, certainly books, or you can get a video game console. And so the question I got, I've been thinking about getting a console since we're self-isolating for who knows how long. And while I've played video games before, I'm not sure what current generation console to get. Now, we're at the point where late this year, there will be the beginnings of a new... Let's be honest, the end of this year is still like 5 years away.
Yep.
Late this year, the next generation of consoles is starting to come out. This generation, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, are as mature as they're going to get, as opposed to the growing pains that sometimes they'll go through at the start. Much like No Man's Sky is now a mature game, these video game consoles are mature. So what do you recommend for someone that wants to get into games? Now, normally here in the store, we like to talk to someone and get a sense for what they're interested in and kind of tailor-make it to them. But what are some of the pros and cons of the different consoles that are out right now? The pros and consoles.
I like that name.
And also, where should I get it? I assume not from Amazon. Asking for a friend.
Well, I mean, if you're in the area of Wilton, New York, I heavily recommend you check out Insane Games. We have a ever-changing stock. For example, earlier today I came in here, and all the stuff that's on that container was traded in just today. People are trading stuff in left, right, and center, and our inventory changes on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're not near the Wilton Mall area, let's just say you move far away from there to per se, honestly, your local small-owned game business, got to say that I would give them a shot.
Look local first, then I would say look into chains like Best Buy, Target, whatever.
And you can play my favorite game of Who Has It for $10 less.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of the big retailers, Target, Walmart, and Best Buy, will match each other.
I think we got our Switch from Target. I'm not positive. I know we got a Switch at the end of last year, but it was one of those. So yes, look into those. Amazon is a last resort. The thing about Amazon right now, and actually these other companies will ship too. Best Buy, Target, a lot of places are offering free shipping if they wouldn't have otherwise, to try to encourage you to be able to stay home and not come in and endanger yourself and others in a public space. So a lot of companies are making those pushes, and if you're comparing different companies, reward the one that is going the furthest with that kind of thing.
So Amp Slayer kicked off our suggestions with a fantastic point that actually kind of covers into the overarching thing. If you're looking for single-player games rather than multiplayer, go for either a PS4 or a Switch. The single-player experiences, the experiences that don't require you to have a second player but can have extra players, are really on the PS4 and the Switch. Mm-hmm. If you are looking to play a game with other people, it started on the 360 and it continued in the Xbox One. Massive multiplayer, massive online, or even small network online belongs to Microsoft and the Xbox One.
Yep.
The PC community as well, but the PC kind of carries its own outside of the console community.
Yeah, we won't consider PC right now. PC gaming is its own thing, and I'm happy to devote some episode time to that another time. Amp Slayer brings up a good point in that let's say that you drop $300 into getting an Xbox One at the outlay, and that's the money that you had, and now you don't have the money to buy a $60 game or a used $30 game or
a
game that's not actually a game at $39.99.
Yep. Journey to the Savage Planet.
Then the Xbox One has the Game Pass that offers more than 100 games for, I'm not sure the exact price, it's somewhere between $5 and $10 a month. And that is just, you download the game to your console, and as long as it is available on the Game Pass service, as long as you're paying that Game Pass subscription, you can play the game. PlayStation has a similar thing as well. I'm not sure of the If they have more games on their thing, if they have fewer, I'm not sure how the selection compares.
It's a little bit hodgepodgey PlayStation's version because they're recovering from the PlayStation TV and rolling back into the idea that the PS4 now does the games as well, the retro games as well as their current stuff.
A lot of the games that you're going to find on Game Pass and frankly in stores are games that are cross-platform.
Yes.
And so like if you want to say like get a console and have the ability to have the most possible at once through Game Pass or something like that, it's going to be Xbox. And then if you want single player, there are going to be options there. If you want multiplayer, they're there and they're just as functional. Although with Xbox, if you want to play multiplayer, if you want to play online, you do need an Xbox Live Gold subscription, which if you pay for 12 months in advance is about $5
Which
a month.
brings up Nightwing's edition of you can bundle Xbox Live and the Game Pass together, and it actually saves you money on your subscription.
Well, that's what I get for not reading the chat while I'm trying to talk. I was trying not to derail again, Dave.
Well, don't worry. Chat does a very good job of derailing.
Chat, so with PlayStation, just to be able to play online is free. But again, if you get...
Not anymore.
It is not.
Nope.
I'm wrong.
It is on the Switch.
It is on the Switch. Okay.
No, it's not.
It is not.
For a couple games. Like, Fortnite is free, I believe.
Although,
get my pen.
Nintendo... So what Nintendo offers for their game service on Xbox and on PlayStation, online is $60 for a year. You can get subscriptions that are a little more, a little less, depending on what you want to buy. Nintendo, it is $20 flat for the year, and with that, you get Tetris 99, NES classic titles, and SNES classic titles that are then available for you to play at your leisure or not play at your leisure, and then you get kind of hooked up to the online capabilities of your Mario parties, your Mario Karts. All I'm thinking of is the Mario titles because those are the only ones I play online, but... So what I would suggest for any friends out there that are looking at game consoles is...
Well, I want to say one more thing really quick. And so between Xbox One and PS4, they're very similar consoles. The controllers are very similar. You're going to find a very similar variety of games on them. Again, the PS4 has a few more enticing exclusives, I will admit, as much as I'm an Xbox person. But the Xbox has its own advantages. It is worth talking a little bit about what sets the Switch apart, and that is the fact that, yes, you can play it on a TV with a Pro Controller or whatever, and then when Steph comes home and she's like, hey, I'm going to play this, I'm going to keep playing Final Fantasy 15 on the PS4 that's on the same TV, I can just grab the Switch and go. So its portability is a really good mark in its favor and can't be ignored.
Hell yeah.
The graphics aren't quite as good on its screen. I think it's a 720p screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it's a handheld, as opposed to what's the highest resolution it can do when it's in TV mode?
1080.
1080. Okay. I didn't know if it could.
So it's 5 years ago's TV model as opposed to 3 years ago's
but it's
TV
still,
model.
it's still honestly like I personally don't get too excited about stuff over 1080. It's neat, but not super required. So the graphics are slightly worse in handheld, but it also helps keep battery life going. And I've occasionally just been like, all right, yes, I do plan on reading a bit before I go to bed, but I'm turning in a bit early and I'm going to play a chapter of Astral Chain. And so the ability to be playing a game on the TV and then say, uh-oh, nature's calling. I'm going to be a few minutes. It's time to grab the Switch, self-isolate in the bathroom for half an hour, and keep playing. Wash your hands. But the ability's there.
Another thing with the Switch, though, is definitely spring for one of the newer ones. Don't go for a bundle for a Switch. Because 9 times out of 10, the bundle is the launch model. Like if you get a bundle with Mario Kart, Splatoon 2. The bundle is the launch model that has the 3 to 4 hours of battery life max.
Okay, so they came out with a revision at one point that increased the battery life?
Almost immediately after, actually.
It was last year, actually. And they kind of launched it alongside of the Switch Lite that has between 4.5 to 5, all the way up to 9 hours. So
the Switch Lite is a portable, is a handheld only version, plays all the same. It's the same.
That's not
it
true.
It can play the same games, and if you're looking to use it to replace your DS or your PSP, then by all means you can look into that. But again, the versatility of a proper full Switch, of being able to bridge that gap between something handheld that you can play in the back of the car and something that you can then drop into the dock and play on a big old flat screen, is really handy to have. And I think that because it's a Nintendo console, the Switch also has the most couch co-op games. The most games,
Yes.
the most local multiplayer games where, like, the default console, just take one of the little controllers, and what we were doing last week with the Mario games, it's just really easy. If you drop $70 or $80 on a controller, but it can still split into two for a lot of these games. And the Switch too, disinfect the Switch. Yes, indeed. Actually, you had dropped a link about disinfecting electronics, and we should talk about that right at the end. But do you have anything more to add on the console discussion?
My best suggestion, and this is something I do say to customers that come in the store, that after I talk to them at length and at their comfort about the systems, is honestly go on YouTube and type in best games Xbox One this year, best games PS4 this year, best games Switch this year. Those titles, if any of those ones that stick out really do speak to you, it's a good sign that the games going forward are going to be modeled closely to the successes of those ones.
Well, that, and it's just worth saying, if you look at them and say, wow, I watched Dave playing God of War way back when on the Weekend Wednesday, and I really want to get the chance to play that, among other things that are cross-platform. I guess I'm getting a PS4.
So,
my noob friend, totally not me, thanks you for your input. You, please give your best to your noob friend, more like rigor mortis.
And anytime more like rigor mortis, you have any game-related questions or things like that, please drop by Insane Games TV. Dan, Mike, myself will be more than happy to speak at any length you are willing to listen to about gaming.
I'll talk too, but I'm not nearly as knowledgeable because I haven't worked in the industry for a few years.
Although books, video editing, and a lot of other stuff, Boater. Boater and 100% Boater.
Books. I just started reading Burn the Night by S.A. Hunt. It is a
book.
book.
Look at you. You said God of War, and now chat's going off.
It is a book about a YouTuber witch hunter. She has a YouTube series, and she hunts witches in real life, and it's like, haha, it's not actually real, is it? But of course, it's what she does. And I'm only like a chapter and a half in, but I am enjoying it so far. This is out right now. Burn the Dark by S.A. Hunt.
Boater, is that your autobiography?
I don't know necessarily if I would say witch hunter would be the first supernatural profession that I would have, aside from being a YouTuber. But it's someone I know.
CJ reckons so that's your autobiography.
Yes. So really quick, you sent me a thing on disinfecting devices, and we talked that because if you're going to take your Switch in for when you're taking a poo, even if you don't touch it, when it's time to wipe and move on and wash for 20 seconds.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. It's still good practice to disinfect, and, phones carry so much gunge on them.
Yes.
And some of it will wipe off in your pocket, but eventually your pocket gets saturated and has stuff in there. You need to clean your phones, and you can use these tips to clean the rest of your devices as well. Controllers, whatever else have you.
So, my recommendation as someone that has successfully sold consoles for the last 5 years and had complaints about the cleanliness of the consoles we have sold, that's in-house. In-house grime doesn't count.
No, this one's my personal one. I'm checking to see if it has any stuff in it.
What we sweaty up on our controllers is none of the customer's business, damn it. Would be, Steve, could you hand me those bottles that are underneath there? To do thusly. Find your favorite household cleaning material. I wouldn't necessarily use Lysol. It leaves a little bit of residue. But Windex works perfectly well because ammonia will get rid of your average germs and things like that.
I had seen something where you got to be careful with Windex on screens.
Yes. Which is why you will take a paper towel. You will spritz it.
To follow along?
Yes, please. You
narrate. I will do the thing.
Spritz it onto a neutral surface. So, a counter in front of you, or something like that.
Okay, so not directly onto the paper towel, just...
Yes. Then rub the paper towel through it. Pick up a lot of it. If you want to clean the surface that is in front of you, it's totally fine. You can never have too clean of a house. Never truly too clean. And then you're good to go. On. I'm gonna trust you to do it on mine.
Okay.
You can take any electronic. I would suggest turning off the screen if there is a sleep mode or things like that, and then merely wipe it down,
because
wipe
this
it
kind of
around to
thing
your heart's
can
content.
affect, the touch screens and such, and you don't want to, accidentally send that really weird website you were just on, copy it to your clipboard, and then send it to your mom.
Or your gameplay. If you're playing the Switch on the pooper and you come out, you don't want to be making decisions just because you're wiping your screen. Science pictures.
I just like CJ Playmaker. That almost feels like a ditty, like wash your hands, eat your veggies, take time to reflect and take personal inventory, make the popcorn chicken and game to your heart's content. I gotta work on the meter of that, but it feels like that should be a sing-along. I like it. That's some good theming.
So that is how I would say to
don't waste the paper towels. They're
gaming
like gold.
Consoles.
If
you do find, as Boder was exploring, in between crags and cracks of plastic cases and things like that,
your handheld controllers get so much stuff. And this goes for mice as well, and to a lesser extent keyboards.
Yes.
They get stuff on them. And the biggest thing that I would see as an issue when people would trade in consoles and stuff would be the hand gunge getting into these seams of the controller. And yes, I would... Sorry, ammonia. I just got like a mouthful of the Windex.
And now your lungs are clean for another 48 hours. You're welcome.
Yes, they are. Is that like... You just take like a business card or like fold a Post-it in half and just run it along
the end of a paperclip works very well for that.
Paperclip feels like it might be a little thick, but yeah, kind of start.
Well, trust me, I do it all the time.
Okay. And just run it in there once, and you would be surprised how much stuff comes out of there. And again, just when you're all done with that, give it a good thorough wipe down.
And/or a hard or soft bristled toothbrush does the job to get into any crags, cracks, and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Once again, making sure your electronics are off or asleep before you do that, because you can, in fact, cause a text message or a website that gargaflagable exclamation point.
Rubbing alcohol is a good thing to use as well, especially because it evaporates quickly. Don't use water, especially if you've left your electronics on. But like a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a toothbrush and just scrubby. I would be careful. Some things that have like cool print on them can be affected by either rubbing alcohol or ammonia and kind of wipe off. I took some like detailing wipes inside of my last car a few months ago and ended up wiping off some of the like little painted bits showing the symbols on the turn signal and stuff.
Oh.
Like, whoops, got to be really careful with that. Let me just do that with water.
The last thing, and typically we end this program, and I promise this will be over in just a moment, so that we can get started with the Citadel with Boder, where he's playing Dragon Quest II. I know I'm hype, and I cannot wait to go home to jump on my Twitch machine and curl up with a blanket and a good game.
Dragon Age 2.
What did I say?
You said Dragon Quest. You said Dragon Quest 2. It's Dragon Age 2.
Those are two different games. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Hell yes. Comedy. I've got a lot of it. You're welcome. As we do in society, as a lot of people do around here, we are a society on the go. We are constantly moving. We are constantly checking information, doing all these things.
And now we're being told not to go.
Well,
I don't know if
not
that's where
only
you're
not
going
to
with
go,
that.
but there's something that you need to do for yourself. It's a product. It is fantastic. It's gone a lot under the radar. Doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of the good that it does. But I got to tell you, my friends, it's 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. My friend, water. Voter. It's a hydrogen and 2 oxygens, not 2 hydrogen and an oxygen. That's a very different chemical component.
Dave, it is actually 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. H2O. It's a big oxygen.
In any case, this is why I don't do this is why I do chemistry. And one for you, Steve.
Thank you.
Please make sure, no matter what you're doing during the day, we as human beings are just complicated ass houseplants. Drink a bottle of water. And if you can't remember the last time you had a drink of water, in fact, right now, as you wait for Boder to start up the Citadel, go get yourself a glass of some wonderful water and spike it with some of your favorite beverages, perhaps a little Kool-Aid, perhaps a little bit of vodka, whatever it is that does it for you. But make sure you drank some water.
And I have a saying when I realize I'm getting a little low on water, and I have especially one of these half-liter things right here. Camel up.
Don't do that with your water, folks.
Don't get to the point where you need to do that. But, you know, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Drink often. Boater,
Wrong
you
pipe.
can have this one since
Wrong
Steve's being
pipe.
namby-pamby about it.
Also, check out Tom Scott's video where he talks about why Dasani isn't in the UK. It's actually a really interesting thing. That was like a 10-minute video that he did in one take with perfect timing.
Isn't it because of the chemicals in it or something?
No, it's the fact that there were no chemicals in it, but the UK just has really bad press for bottled water. It's a great video. I do recommend checking it out. Tom Scott, why the UK doesn't have Dasani.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Nerd Glasses. If you're thinking about it right now, now's a good time where you should hit that little heart in the corner there. That gives us a follow. That lets us know that you like the program and that you're following along with us. And wherever you watch on this, whatever you watch on this network, make sure to let them know in chat, hey, I like what you're doing. But
It goes a long way.
unfortunately, we're getting the signal here. We're going to have to delay Death Stranding
Yep.
till next week.
Death Stranding, you know, it's one of those... I got a funny thing to show you afterward. It's one of those things that would be really good to talk about because it really is, like, thematically a really good social isolation game, but unfortunately we can't talk about it this week, so maybe next week.
Maybe next week. Death Stranding, thank you so much for joining us. We're so sorry we ran out of time. Our guests ran long. Thank you, more like rigor mortis. So, my friends, wherever you are, whatever you are doing this week, just remember, continue to be excellent to others. Continue to be excellent to yourself. You are loved. You are important. And we will absolutely see you right here at twitch.tv/insane video game. Insane game. We changed so many channels.
Insane
Games TV _. And we look greatly forward to seeing you next time. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for the Citadel featuring the talents of Boater Bug playing Dragon Age 2.
And wash your hands!
And drink some water. And also, I love you.